The first time I saw her face, a bomb went off in my head. The bullet lodged in my brain, moved a fatal, microscopic distance. She was explaining the mysteries of Prometheus. So articulate, so expressive. I was hooked. I subscribed to her YouTube channel and follow her on Facebook, but not on that stupid Twitter thing. Now, she haunts my dreams. The dreams always end the same way. The alarm goes off, and I have to go to work. I've been sitting here in the staff lounge for 20 minutes now. Or 8 years, depending on how you look at it. Software engineer for a large corporation. Some days, the music man would play us a tune or two, before he goes back to wandering the hollow corridors. My Friday morning was interrupted by an emergency team meeting. Meet the team. The other engineers had either ran off, been paid off, or bumped off. This left us, which wasn't a comforting thought. The company now takes on freelance mercenaries, whose allegiance lie with the highest bidder. Efficient, consistent, predictable. As long as they are paid. Our esteemed team leader stood up and gave us the bad news. The software we have been developing had died. Then he gave us the worst news. If we do not deliver the software today, we'll be killed by the deadline. I could just see it in my mind. The software source code kneeling down, begging for its life. But someone or something still mercilessly killed it. The horror. It was too much. I had to go clear my mind. I had to get some help from the best. Perhaps the only friend I have left in this god-forsaken town. I went to see Mr. Best. They call him the best because he is the best. He could get things done just like that. He could get things done with his hands behind his back. He is so fast, his job ticket inbox is always empty. But he was having lunch, and one does not simply interrupt lunch. The horror. I went for lunch at the usual watering hole. I joined the queue. I looked down and behind me. I recognized those shoes. They stood out like streetwalkers in a monastery. I was being tailed by a team of assassins called the Deadline. They sent professionals, 3 to be exact. I was flattered. I ran outside. The white cleaner's van was there. I got to my car, but they cut me off. It was like having diarrhea and running out of toilet paper and breaking the handle of the flush. I ran back into the building. They had me cornered. The horror. Staring down the barrel of a Deadline's gun is like looking at the face of death. They say before you die, your life flashes before your eyes. I realized my life was like a noir story. Noir has a distinct visual style. I used to dream in Technicolor, but now it's mostly black and white. and some pinkish red. It's usually set in an urban setting. Lounges, car parks, creepy stairwells. The protagonist is usually flawed, morally questionable, and filled with existential bitterness. I used to believe I was a superhero, invincible, but now I just don't know anymore. My life is filled with stereotypical characters, intrepid colleagues to freelance mercenaries, femme fatales, menacing assassins, down-and-out musicians, and boss people. The worldview is pessimistic, trapped in unwanted situations, striving against random, uncaring fate, and frequently doomed. The tone is bleak, cynical, downbeat, hopeless, filled with self-reflective humor. The plot, usually crime, involving murder, conspiracies, and mysteries. The structure and narrative devices involve convoluted storylines with flashbacks and dreams. The story is told through the voice-over narrations of the protagonists, also known as the voices in my head. My life is like a noir story. All the boxes were ticked. My life is a bad joke without a punchline. I was cornered. Deadline was closing in. They were trying to put out my flames with gasoline. But I wasn't about to give up. Being dead would not help me meet the woman of my dreams. The mission was screaming suicide, but I did not give a damn. At least I'd die being a pain in the ass. My next trick would be a high wire act with a fiery pit for a safety net. Jesus Christ, I was going to perform a miracle. The code would be resurrected. The troubleshooting has begun. I would choose a bullet through the head rather than a slow roasting death any day of the goddamn week. From the lower level to the higher level functions, I worked my way up, with the deadline right on my heels. I was dodging bullets and compiler errors like I was dodging raindrops. After hours of troubleshooting and debugging, the code is alive. I am still alive. Good news on both counts. So, I live to die another day. I was just about to head home when the telephone rings. A sinister voice came over the telephone. Hee 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 ha 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 ho 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 ho. Well done for beating the deadline. We want your personal mobile number. My personal mobile number? I don't think so. Then how are we going to contact you over the weekend to give you more work? I smirked. Exactly. You don't.
for this. There's always room in life for this.